Alright, so we're going to be running through a program that I've written, and it's a guessing game. So you're going to guess a number, and the program's going to tell you if you're at the right number or near the right number, and then you'll be able to guess again, and you'll continue that process until you actually get to the right number. And so this is the harder variation of it. You can actually simplify this down so that it's easier to actually play the game, but we'll get into that in a second. So program clear is another program within a program. So it's actually another program that I've written that you can run separately, and it's this. These are the only really interesting functions, and it just turns off some other things and resets them to where they're supposed to be. It's good. We can get to that later. Another YouTuber actually wrote that, so I'll link his video in the description. So we have x as our counting variable, and you want to count how many times you've made a guess, or how many guesses you've made, I guess. And that's going to be x, so that's going to be our variable. And then we want to pick the number that we actually want to be guessing at. That's going to be our answer. So that's going to be stored as a here and a here. So first thing we want to do is start on the inside of the parentheses. So we have two sets of parentheses here, or three sets, I guess. So your random integer, which is rand int. And integer is a whole number, so it's not going to be like pi or 1/4 or anything. It's going to be a whole number. So it's going to pick a whole number between 1 and 10, pick a whole number between 1 and 10, and then it's going to divide the two. And so that can give you a range of decimals or a range of numbers. One of them I think is like 1.5, there's like 2.5 or something like that. And you can get any range of decimals. And so it's going to take just the decimal part of that. And so if it's 5.6, then you're going to be taking just the 0.6, not the 5. And so it's going to add whatever that decimal part of this is, and it's going to be adding it to this, which is a random integer, so it's a whole number between 1 and 100. Excuse me. And so you're going to take like 56 if it is our random integer, and we have 0.6 is our decimal, so 56.6, and that's going to add them together. So 56.6 is our number, and we're going to store that as a. But if it's not just 0.6 and it's 0.67, well, we don't want to have to guess all the way to 0.67. And so we're going to round to one decimal. So whatever it is, it's going to, so if it is 56.67, it's going to round to 56.7. And that'll be our answer. That'll be our A. And if it, for some reason, A is greater than 100, then just reset 100 as A, or A as 100. And then this is going to be our first label. So this is going to be the start of our section where we're just going to repeat. We're going to repeat this if you don't get the answer correct. So it's going to ask for the answer, and it's going to give you, use input, not prompt, because we want to ask specifically what the question is. And so you're going to, the question is guess between 1 and 100, or what the statement is, or what we're asking for. And then where do I want to store that? I want to store it at g, which is our variable, our guessing variable. And so then if your guess is equal to the actual answer, the one we calculated for earlier, then go to f, and so that's going to be the finish. That's usually it's the finish or the end. So that's going to be here. And you say, yeah, you did it. Where were we? Alright, if g is greater than a, so if you're too high, then it'll tell you, hey, you're too high, not, yeah, well. If g is less than a, then we're going to display that you're too low, and so that your guess is too low. And so then x plus 1 is now going to be stored as x. And so we're going to add 1 to the number of guesses that you've had, and then we're going to go back up to c. And note that we stored 1 above c, so that we're not going to be restoring 1 at every time we go to c. And then if the only way to get out of this loop is if you can get the go to f. And so it's going to keep asking you and asking you and asking you until you get the correct answer, or you quit the program. And then label f is our n, so if you actually, when you get it right, you can go down here. The program's going to display, yay! It's in quotation marks, because that means that you want to display exactly what the text is and not what the variables mean. And that's why x is not in parentheses. And then you have to put commas in between, because you want to say, here's one string, or one bit of information that I want you to display. Here's another bit of information that I want you to display. But don't display them all together, right? And that's not just one continuous sentence. You could display it, you can actually get rid of these here, and then it would display this as one line. Just, this would be one line, this would be another, this would be a third line. And I don't think there's a way you can bridge that gap and get rid of those without making it. You could use a text, but it's not really that important that you have that extra lines, and it's all good. So it took you this many guesses. So x doesn't have quotation marks around it, which means it's just the variable or the number of x. So if x is 2, if it took you 2 guesses, which is fantastic, then it'll display 2. It took you 2 guesses because we want not it took you x guesses. It took you 2 guesses. There you go. Okay. So then if the number of guesses, which is x, is equal to 1, so if you got it on your first try, which it's probably better than fantastic, it's probably like superb, but whatever. And then if it's so it goes through if and. So if you want this to be displayed, or this to be commanded, or this to be run, if 2 things are true, use an and. Like, that kind of makes sense, I guess. So if this is true and this is true, then you can do this. So if x is greater than 1 and x is less than 5, so if x is between 1 and 5, so it's like 2, so if x is 2, then say that, they didn't do a bad job, they got 2 guesses. And then if x is between 5 and 10, then like, oh, come on. And then if x is greater than 10, so particularly like 15 guesses, you're like, really? So this is the whole program. There's probably ways to optimize it. I tried running it a different way, and I couldn't get it to work. Something with too many ifs interlooped into each other. And anyway, there's probably a simpler way to do this, and there's definitely an easier way so that it's not difficult to guess here. And you can probably you can make this a part of a complex game where you have a menu and you have an easy, medium, and a hard. This could be your hard or your insane, or if you wanted to make it more difficult and between 1 and 1,000, you could probably do that. And if you guys really wanted to, you could make a program that would calculate the probability of getting this correct on the first guess, or how many guesses it should take you. You probably need AI to do that. But that being said, I invite not invitations. I invite challenges or optimization questions or things of that sort. I hope you guys have found this useful and helpful, and thank you, and have a good day.